Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Okay, so normally I talk about men's issues. Men's issues can cover a lot of different topics. Men's freedoms and their ability to discuss things, have intellectual conversations, have conspiracy theories, talk about different things on their minds. I'm all down for that. But I try to stay away from politics until politics runs into men's issues. And this is one of those instances. But let me be clear about something, okay? Just because if there's two political parties, the kick you in the head party and the kick you in the huevos party, just because I start talking badly about the kick you in the huevos party does not mean I like the kick you in the head party. I don't like either one of them. But when one of them goes off their rails and starts going so crazy that it threatens my freedom, my business, my ability to discuss topics, because I'm going to be policed by a crazy, what's the word I'm looking for? Theater woman, I'm done. I'm done with it. And I just have one question I would like to ask the current administration. Are you out of your fucking minds with this? Have you gone crazy? Have you gone off your rails? The Biden administration, and this is why this has to do with every man in the world, because whether it's 9gag or Tinder or Twitter or Google or YouTube, or these are all Facebook, they're all American companies. And if this happens, this has to do with all the websites and most of the popular places where we like to. It has to do with locals. This would get rid of us being able to talk about anything on locals, because it takes it away from the website's responsibility and now puts it on the U.S. government. This is now a police officer in our national security department, and her name is Nina Jankowicz. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Biden is being blasted for policing free speech with dystopian disinformation bureau. You know, when they, and this is 1984. This is literally the Ministry of Truth. They will police what you say. They will police how you can say it. And if they say it's not true and you can't talk about it, you can't talk about it. And why are they pushing this through right now? For two reasons, I think. Number one, we've got 9 months until our midterm elections. And of course, they want to try to keep all the crazy things that the Democrats are currently doing off of the internet. They don't want memes being made about Joe Biden and his president houseplant and his stumbles and fumbles and mumbles. And Elon Musk is probably buying Twitter. And so if they can come through with this Ministry of Truth, they can now take it away from the responsibility of whoever owns the website and put it on the U.S. government, which means all websites, all everything can be policed by the United States government as when it comes to U.S. businesses and U.S. websites. That's pretty much everything. That's, again, Google, YouTube, etc. I just cannot believe the bravado of this. And don't get me wrong, if the weirdo, if the do-nothing Republicans did the same thing, I'd be just as enraged. Again, it has nothing to do with party. It's the fact that you are doing it, period. It just happens to be this party that's doing it. They say, and this concerns men, because this concerns our ability to have the fun that we have and goof on crazy women, and all this stuff can go away. You know, it becomes like North Korea and China. They say President Biden came under fire Thursday for the creation of a dystopian disinformation bureau created under his Homeland Security Department, which critics are blasting as just a way for the government to police free speech online. Conservatives slammed the Department of Homeland Security's Orwellian new Disinformation Governance Board, also known as the Ministry of Truth, with some suggesting the timing is convenient, given Elon Musk vowed to buy Twitter, a free speech haven, after his $44 billion takeover. And he was speaking about removing all of the censorship and the lockdowns. And here's the thing. They say, well, we do it to get rid of hate speech. Here's how you get rid of hate speech, right? Let's say that you think I'm spouting, I don't know, hateful rhetoric. You just lean over, you push a button in. Has disappeared. You don't have to see me. You can block me. You can say, don't recommend this channel anymore. Same thing on Twitter. If you don't like what someone's saying, you can block them. I've done it lots of times. That's how you get rid of it. Leave it up to the individual to decide what they do and do not want to hear. It's not up to the company. It's not up to the internet. It's not up to the government. And this enrages me because it takes away our choice as smart, independent, creative, fun-loving men. And, you know, every once in a while you hear about maybe a kid that was bullied at school and then he goes postal. And if you don't know the expression postal, it's because back in the 80s and 90s, postal workers would lose their ever-loving mind and would go on a pew-pew rampage and take out lots of coworkers that they were angry with, or they lost their pension, or they got laid off and fired, and they went bananas, okay? So when you hear the expression going postal, that's what it means. Well, I understand now why people just get to a point where they're like, you know what, please, for the love of God, leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Please stop forcing me to think and talk and only see the world the way you want to see. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of it. It's why I created this channel, to give men a voice. And now they're threatening not only to take that away, but to take away anything that they deem is not appropriate to the government. And I'm sorry, but if you voted for this, shame on you. Shame on you. I don't care how much you hate Orange Man. They say Missouri Senator Josh Hawley called the new board a disgrace that was designed to monitor all American speech. In a letter to Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, Hawley said he initially thought Wednesday's announcement was satire. Surely no American administration would ever use the power of government to sit in judgment on the First Amendment speech of its own citizens. Sadly, I was mistaken. Rather than protecting our border or the American homeland, you have chosen to make policing American speech your priority. And this is your new minister of truth here. She looks lovely, doesn't she? She looks like a happy soul. She's smiling in the lips, but the rest of her face says, I would like to smother you with a pillow. At least in my opinion. That's what it looks like to me. Congressional they just go on and a bunch of people ripping on it. The hashtag Ministry of Truth was also trending on Twitter as critics compared the new board to George Orwell's 1984 novel. They said I can't say this name on YouTube, so I'll just say, the Austrian with the toothbrush mustache in charge of Germany had a Ministry of Truth. Joseph Goebbels had a Ministry of Truth. Stalin had a Ministry of Truth. And now Joseph Biden has a Ministry of Truth, tweeted Errol Weber, GOP candidate. And here's, I kind of saw this photo and I'm like, hey, that would make kind of an interesting idea for a thumbnail, but I didn't want to steal what they did exactly, so I changed it up. But they say Big Sister is watching you, and it's true. The board will be led by Nina Jankowicz, depending on how you want to pronounce it, a disinformation expert who has been criticized for repeatedly casting doubt on the Post's reporting about Hunter Biden's laptop. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said she didn't have details on the board's role or its executive director. And here's the thing, this woman here, she's spoken out actively against Republicans, conservatives, Christians, what else? Anybody doubting the jab, anybody doubting the Hunter Biden, or anybody believing the Hunter Biden laptop story, anybody thinking that the bug of unknown origins came from the CCP. She's literally just towing the current administration's line. And here's where it gets kind of weird. And listen, ladies, you know, I've been on men's forums where men said women shouldn't have the right to vote. We should just take it away from them. And I always thought, you know what, that's extreme. Women deserve the right to vote just as much as men. But overwhelmingly, it is white, middle-aged, extremely liberal women that are all in on this stuff. And for the first time, when I've looked at the statistics of who votes and how, overwhelmingly, it's women that vote for this kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying the right should be taken away from women, but I'm starting to listen to the argument. And it's because of stuff like this. They say Biden's disinfo czar, Nina Yankowicz, ripped over cringeworthy Mary Poppins TikTok. Now, this lady, I'm going to play just a second of this, but these are not serious people. This is not a serious government. And when you're going to tell me someone like this dingbat can police what I can or cannot say on the internet, I'm done. I'm done. If this were to go through and I have to start policing what I say on the internet because of this thing, I'm done. I'll become a farmer. I'll become a truck driver. I don't care. I'm done. Let's see if they have some audio to this.
In Congress or a mainstream outlet, so disinformation's origins are slightly less atrocious. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie. It's how you hide a little lie when Rudy Giuliani shared.
Really? And what's she singing about? Everything she disagrees with. Now, if you were to create something like this that was truly apolitical and down the middle of the road, I still wouldn't agree with it. But when you're going to put singing Mary Poppins in charge of basically the freedom of the internet around the world, I got problems with this. When I see this is the representation of women that we put into our government, yeah, I got questions about voting for them. I really do. And I don't want to be like that. But you know what's happening? The crazier the left goes, the crazier the Democrats go on this stuff. You're forcing me to sides. I'm usually a middle-of-the-road guy. But if this is where we're going with this stuff, I'm not left with many choices if I want to remain free. If one party is all about taking away my speech and taking away my Second Amendment and taking away the right to discuss certain topics and taking away your freedoms during lockdowns and everything else, I have no choice. I have to oppose them. And I have to oppose them strongly, which drives everybody off to the other side. That's not healthy political discourse. Singing Mary Poppins over here. Your new minister of truth, everybody. And if that's not the look of a crazy woman, I don't know what is. Jack Sobek, who I follow on Twitter, who has some really good takes on this stuff. The DHS National Head of Censorship for America. It went across Tucker Carlson. Like, nobody's on board with this. And again, I don't necessarily want to talk about politics here, but you're forcing me to. When one side of the aisle is taking my freedoms away, I'm just a libertarian. Not a big L libertarian where I say we don't have to have any programs. I'm not like that. I'm just saying, look, make sure everybody's safe. Investigate criminal behavior by companies, by people. Make sure we have boards that are everybody's playing by some decent and fair rules. And I don't know all the ins and outs of all of it. I don't want to get into all that. But when you start taking away my freedoms, I don't care who you are. I'm going to want to talk about it, and I'm going to be angry about it because this affects everyone. And you just don't get to do this to a free people. You just don't get to take away everyone's rights. I'm going to do a dating profile of the day for everybody. Let's do it. All right. Usually I do these only over on locals, but I'm feeling nice today. She says, this is gal 37. She's got more plastic than a Lego factory. There's more plastic in her than a Lego factory. I'm just saying that now. She says she's 37. A real man messages first. No, we're done with that. We're done with that. You don't get to lay back or sit back or lounge back or I don't know, in her with this much plastic, melt back and wait for men to line up to ask you out. We're done with that. She said, hold a conversation. Make me laugh. I'm not a comedian. I am not here to entertain you, although you are quite entertaining to look at. She says, one-word messages with just hey, hi, howdy, or just about my looks will be deleted. Okay. She says, I'm looking for a funny, confident, dog-loving, active, proactive, financially comfy, debt-free, ambitious man. The male version of me. Okay. Okay. Must be over 6 foot tall. Oh, wait.
Classic move. Oh, yeah.
No children. Always growing. Passport ready. Never boring. Able to treat his queen. And I'll treat you like a king. Looking for a loving and marriage-minded partner, so let's crack on. Of course you are. You're 37, and the only way you've defied gravity is with 40 pounds of plastic. I just, I joke about this a lot, but one of the reasons why I have been, you guys don't know this, but I've been on a real push to buy a large section of, not everybody knows this, a lot of you guys know this, but maybe the reasoning for it is not clear. I do want to set up a men's retreat, and I do want to have my own land. But a large portion of it is because I want to, hopefully in another couple of years, save up enough money where I have the land, I have my house, I have a men's retreat. Maybe I do a little bit small work on the side. I want to be able to turn off the internet forever. I really do. I every day I sit down for several hours looking for stories and looking at new. I have to spend a lot of my waking hours on the internet. And I find the more that I do that, the more that I dislike people, humanity, government, the more I hate everything. And the truth is, I just want to be left alone. Not by people, but I don't want people telling me what I have to do. It's why I work for myself for the most part, and why I invested very well over the years. So there was a day I had FU money. I'm not quite there yet, so I do have to keep working and keep asking for supporters over on Locals, over on betterbachelor.locals.com. But I've had enough, because the real world, people seem to be nice and they seem to be normal. And some ministry of truth cannot, if my neighbor and I decide to lean across the fence and shoot the breeze and maybe smoke a cigar while we have a cold beer looking at a sunset over a cornfield, no one can come in and stop that. But when you look back to when I was in Germany and I looked at the Wall of Terror that explained how the Austrian with the toothbrush mustache came to power, it wasn't overnight. It was over the course of maybe a decade, I think. Just taking away little freedoms here and there, just inching and encroaching a little bit. And Jordan Peterson said it very well, where if somebody is a foot away from you or 10 feet away from you, and they take a step forward, they're going to keep coming forward and encroaching on you until you say, no, that's it, no more, stop. And they'll stop and they'll wait a little while until you're not paying attention, and then they'll take another step forward to see what you do. And if you turn around and say, hey, I told you to stop, and they stop there, they've gained another foot on you. And they keep doing this till they're right in your face. And the only way, and I don't mean this in a literal physical pushback way, we have to start pushing back against this stuff. All of it. That's why I do my channel. Doesn't mean I dislike women. Doesn't mean I dislike the necessities of government. It means when you've encroached so far in on us, many of us are done saying, stop there. Now what we're saying is, now you need to move back. You are now in my personal space and you need to move back. The laws when it comes to divorce, you need to move back. The laws when it comes to child support, move back. When it comes to believing anything a woman says when it incriminates a man and not giving him his rights or his ability to speak out back against it, just believe the women, move back. The ability to delete pregnancies up to and after birth for a week, which is a case, I think, now in New York, you got to move back. You know, giving people a hard time because they want to talk about, they want to post Bible quotes or talk about religion somewhere. And there is pushback against that now. You got to move back. The government has encroached way, way too far on too many of our lifestyles. And me personally, I'm done saying, no, stop there, please, stop there. I'm done. I'm now pushing back. And I'm pushing back with my votes. I'm pushing back with how I spend my money. I'm pushing back with what I talk about, whether on YouTube or social media or whatever. I'm pushing back with how I interact with people in my life. And I'm not doing it in a mean way, and nor even a mean-spirited way. I'm just saying, you know what? I used to be a fence sitter. Just saying both sides, just please leave me alone. But one side keeps coming up and punching me in the face and pushing me over the fence. And I didn't leave the center left me. I'm done. I'm done with all of this. Now, this content will not be normal here on my main channel. It'll be on my B-Sides channel. I'll be doing news and information over on Locals with my news postings that I do over there. But I'm finding more and more of the news that I want to talk about. It's not just like, here's normal news topics. It's encroaching on men's issues. Taking away our speech and our ability to talk and make fun of the world and have our conspiracy theories and our thoughts and our ideas, and whether they're truly, conspiracies or not, I want the ability to talk about it all. And the unpopular stuff, you know what? If it's unpopular, it's unpopular. I get that. But if you never allowed for change, if you never allowed for discussions, if you never allowed for the disagreement of ideas, nothing would change. And if nothing changed or changes, the people that are hurt by that are many people. I mean, countless. It was these discussions that led to the civil rights changes in the 1960s. Unfortunately, it's also the rights that changed every women's right to vote in 1920. I think we'd be in a different world if they didn't. And I say that half-hearted jokingly, but again, if this is the direction we're going in, something's going to have to change, because we can't coexist in the same world together, or the same country together, or the same whatever together. When you start coming at whether it's me or men or certain half ideas, whether you agree with them or not, I'd be defending any other side. When you get to that point, it's going to get ugly. And I've said this a couple years ago. I said it this past Christmas. I'll say it again. Things get worse before they get better. And it's still continuing to get worse. And I think we have many more years of it. But you're going to have to push back, because the days of saying, hey, please stop, just stop there, they're not listening anymore. Therefore, we're done. Guys, please join me on betterbachelor.locals.com if you'd like actual free speech, unlike here on YouTube and other places. I'll have unique content over there. It's $5 a month, $4 a month if you support me for a year. That allows me to continue to do my work and speak on the stuff I think that's important to us. We'll see you in the next one.